Now, one of the most common questions I get asked as people approach retirement is, if I stop working now, would my pension pot be enough? Because when your pension pot gets to a meaningful size, maybe £400,000 or £500,000, the question stops becoming about, is my pension pot big enough? And instead becomes one key decision. And that key decision is you could stop working now and accept a lower level of income in retirement, but have a longer retirement and gain back more time. Or you could instead continue to work for an extra 5 or 10 years and have more income in retirement, but a shorter retirement. And the thing is, neither of these decisions are binary and neither is wrong or right. It all becomes a personal choice. So in this video, I'm going to take an example where we've got an individual who is age 55 now with £500,000 in their pension, and show you exactly what that looks like if they retire now, what it looks like if they continue working to age 60, and again, what happens if they work to age 65. And what I really want you to do is, as I go through each scenario, is actually ask yourself, would I continue working for those extra years for that extra income in retirement? But if you're new here, my name's Ben, I'm a financial planner and retirement income specialist, and my aim is to help as many people as possible gain more clarity and confidence around a retirement plan. Now, one of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to retirement planning is everyone seems to think it comes down to one key number. So the thing you'll often see is, do I need £1 million in order to retire? Now, the problem is retirement planning is a lot more nuanced than this, because ultimately it comes down to how much you've saved, how much your investments are going to grow, and ultimately how long your money needs to last. But there is another factor that actually matters just as much, and that is when you retire. Because clearly every year additionally that you work means more contributions into your pension, more time for your pension to actually grow, and therefore less time for your pension to actually last you when it comes to retirement. Okay, so let's set the scene for the example. So as I say, we've based this on a 55-year-old having about £500,000 invested in their pension already. They're earning about £90,000 a year, and they're contributing the standard into their pension, which is 8%. So that's 3% from their employer and 5% from them. And they're taking a balanced level of risk within their pension. So nothing too cautious and nothing too adventurous. And finally, we've also assumed they'll have the full state pension from age 67, which as we stand today is about £1,000 a month. Now, the question they want answered is simple really, and that is, when can I realistically retire? So firstly, let's look at if they're retired now at age 55 and how much could they realistically spend based on their pension pot size. Clearly, if they stop working now, what does this mean? So A, if we're going to be assuming they live to age 90, which is typically what we do as financial planners, this is looking at a 35-year time horizon. So from now, age 55 through to age 90. So really what this means is they have a lot more freedom and a lot more time to actually enjoy their retirement rather than working that extra 5 or 10 years. But how feasible really is this with a pension pot size of £500,000? So based on historical market data, a £500,000 pension pot plus the state pension can produce around £2,200 a month of spending. Now, for some people, this may feel completely reasonable and realistic. And for others, it might feel a bit tight. Now, this is why typically people look at this and say, okay, maybe I do need to work a little bit longer just to get that little bit more extra ability to spend more money when it comes to retirement. But before we continue, if you are enjoying the video, please do consider subscribing, because I'll be posting a lot more videos on pensions and retirement planning in the future. Okay, so now let's move on to age 60. So this is an additional 5 years of this individual working. Now, for some people that may not seem like a big deal, and for others they might think, okay, well, I'm happy to do it if it actually is worthwhile. So if this individual continues working for an extra 5 years, what does that mean? So in simple terms, obviously it means an extra 5 years of pension contributions going in, an extra 5 years of that pension pot actually growing through investment growth, and of course 5 years less that pension has actually got to support them. The reason for this is because we are reducing the retirement by 5 years. So instead of a 35-year retirement, we've actually got a 30-year retirement from age 60 to age 90. So if this individual continues working for an extra 5 years, they're probably looking at a pension pot size at age 60 of about £700,000. Now, based on historical market data, you would expect them to be able to spend about £2,900 a month from age 60 to age 90. So if we compare that to age 55, that's about an extra £700 a month that this individual can spend. So again, the question I really want you to ask yourself is, would you work an extra 5 years for an additional £700 a month spending? Now, again, there's no wrong or right answer to this, and each individual is going to have their own stance on whether this is actually something they would want to do. But again, with all of this, it's really important that you are thinking about, okay, well, do I really value that extra £700 a month spending when it comes to retirement? Or do I instead retire at 55 rather than 60, but accept the fact that I'm going to be able to spend less in retirement? Okay, so now let's move on to age 65. So again, an additional 5 years of working. So what does this mean? So in this scenario, if this individual continues working for an extra 10 years from age 55 to age 65 and continues to make pension contributions, they're probably looking at a pension pot size when it comes to age 65 of about £1 million. So again, what does this mean in terms of how much they can actually spend when it comes to retirement? So clearly, retiring age 65 again reduces the time in which that money needs to last. So age 65 to age 90, that's a 25-year retirement. Now, what this means is that this individual can probably spend about £4,000 a month when it comes to retirement. So clearly, that is a massive jump from age 60. And the main reason for this is because twofold, really. One is you are obviously reducing the time that that money needs to last you, but also because that pension pot size is that much bigger, you can actually draw a lot more from that pension pot size in retirement. Okay, so now let's look at all three scenarios. So option A is effectively retire at 55 and spend £2,200 a month from now until age 90. Retiring age 60 means you can spend about £2,900 a month from now until age 90. Or the third scenario, you retire at age 65 and spend £4,000 a month to age 90. So this really lays out the comparison and actually shows you the impact retiring later can have. So again, what I really want you to do is actually look at these figures and say, do I want to be able to spend £2,200 a month and have a 35-year retirement? Or do I want to spend £4,000 a month but only have a 25-year retirement? Now, clearly the big variable that nobody knows in all of this is how long you live. So that's why it's really difficult to actually work out an exact figure. But when we are building these as financial planners and really stress testing how much you can draw when it comes to retirement, we typically like to think that people will live to age 90. Now, clearly this is slightly higher than the average life expectancy currently in the UK, but we tend to be a bit more conservative when it comes to putting these numbers together. So as I say, based on living to age 90, this is the sort of income you could expect at each age. And this is where retirement planning becomes more than just about numbers. It becomes priorities. Now, for some people, they will be very happy to retire at age 55 and accept a lower level of income, whereas others would actually rather work for the extra 5-10 years to get that additional spending ability when it comes to retirement. And as I said at the start of the video, neither of these approaches are right or wrong, because ultimately it comes down to your personal situation and what's more important to you. But the important thing is simply understanding the trade-off clearly, because once you see how these decisions affect the outcome, the choice becomes a lot clearer and a lot more intentional. So the key takeaway is simple really, and that is working longer can significantly increase the amount you can spend in retirement. But it also means giving up years of freedom earlier in life. And ultimately, retirement planning is about getting the balance of these and deciding which approach is best for you. So what I would suggest you do is actually check out the financial clarity system I've put together. And you can get this using the link in the description. And what this allows you to do is you can input your own personal details. So your current age, what your income is, how much you're spending, and what you're contributing to your pension. It actually allows you to see if you are on track to achieve your retirement. And what the system allows you to do is actually see what more could be done if there is a shortfall. So whether that's increasing your pension contributions, perhaps taking a slightly higher level of risk with your investments and pensions, or perhaps reducing the amount you're going to spend in retirement. This all builds into the system so you can actually see and actually model out and get more clarity around what is possible for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.